Have you ever felt guilty for needing reassurance or ashamed for wanting someone to just see you? Know that you're not alone, and no, it is not wrong. In fact, it's deeply human. Seeking external validation doesn't make you needy. It often means that there was a part of you that wasn't met when it mattered most. In this video, we're going to look at why the need for validation runs so deep, and we'll learn to work with it, not against it. So, let's get started. Hello everybody, I'm Catriona Morten. I'm a Sensorimotor Psychotherapist, and this is Vega therapy, where you learn to calm your body, quieten your mind, and heal from within. So we're asking the question, is it wrong to seek external validation? We're given really mixed messages about this, and I would say no. A lot of us really like a compliment. We like nice things being said to us, especially when it's unexpected and it just comes out of the blue. It can really make us feel good. It can bolster ourselves. You know, sometimes when we go out, it just feels nice to be pleasant and complimentary to people. And that can really help put a smile on people's faces. But if we really need it, if that external validation is essential to us being able to have a sense of self-worth, to believe that we're important, that we matter, that we have a right to exist, then we're on a really sticky wicket with that, because it leaves us very vulnerable, very dependent on what's coming our way, and it really skews things. So every time we're doing something, or just getting dressed to go out, we're not looking at ourselves from the inside out and how we feel about ourselves. We're really looking at it from the outside in. We're imagining other people's eyes on us and what they're making up about us and how the kind of judgments that we're getting. And, that's a really big task, because ask 10 different people for their opinion about something, you're going to get 10 different answers. And it leaves us really at the mercy of what's coming at us and that sense of validation for who we are. Like most things, it goes way back. It goes back to when we're growing up. And a lot of my clients, they've grown up in a very controlling household where the carers have had very, very strict ways of doing things and very set ideas and ways of how things should be done. And that can be from the way that we are out in public, to the way that we dress, the way that we are. It can be about how we are with our emotions. If we're told that you always got to just suck it up and not show anything and always have a stiff upper lip and look okay, then we learn to squash things. And if our validation has been reliant on pleasing our carers, of doing the right thing so that we get attention, or we don't get into trouble, or we get praised for it, then it's really setting us on a path of people pleasing, of really having very little sense of our own identity, of constantly trying to be something. And it doesn't leave any room for self-growth, to really know what we're like and who we are, what we like and what we don't like and why. It leaves us in a very vulnerable position of, not having that really strong self-belief and forming a really good sense of ourselves, our own opinions, our own tastes. And it really does leave us at the mercy of others' opinions. And it can be really hard to know, who am I? What do I like? And we can be very easily influenced by others that kind of pull us one way or another. There's things that really exacerbate that make it a lot worse. For a lot of people, things like Instagram and TikTok, they're very much about getting likes, getting attention. And if that's not coming, then it can feel devastating, because we're not getting that sense of validation of, yes, you look good, or you're doing the right thing. And for a lot of my clients, it leaves them in a place of, high anxiety, everything always feels very precarious, and they don't really have a sense of themselves. When we know that, when we can look back and say, yes, that's where my opinions were formed, that's where all these rules that I live my life by, and every family has them. You know, my mum had some very set ideas about things. No woman after the age of 40 should have shoulder-length hair. And as you can see, I don't go with that. It's like, no, I'm quite happy with it. And I'm not really that bothered what other people think because I'm comfortable with it. And that's a big part of this. Having a sense of ourself, an ability to validate ourselves. And when we know we haven't got that, then we know we have to cultivate that within ourselves. But where do we start? Well, we start with the internal world, because we've been told an awful lot about the external world, how we should be. And if we've not been able to, have that strong sense of ourselves, then we have to learn how to cultivate that. And, we have to begin by going inwards, sensing into ourselves, because it's internally that is the true essence of who you are. It's an internal process of how you feel and how you feel solid and how you have that really grounded sense of yourself. When we can use things like breath work. Okay, so let's just sense into the way that your body's breathing. We're going to go in with no judgment, no expectation of how it should be. We want to go in, develop our curiosity and be aware of how our body's breathing. The speed of the breath, the depth of the breath, the parts of the body that move. And we're going to learn how to validate that, be really grateful for the breath coming in and out of our body and really having a sense of this is the way we're breathing and it's perfectly good enough because we're not turning blue. We can get a sense of the sensations around in the body, tingling in your feet, feeling the muscles in your legs, feeling the things that your body's in contact with, the floor, in my case, the sofa, the cushion against my back. And being able to really sense that's the essence of me, where I am right now. And whenever we're going into a situation and we know that we kind of always looking for that, what people think, we're handing over all the power to them. We have to be able to take it back to ourselves, to have a sense of the way that we're breathing, the feeling of our feet in our shoes, your feet on the floor, bringing it back to a sense of you. And if it helps to kind of squeeze some muscles and release them, those are the things that you're doing internally for your own self, in your own body. And when we can keep that awareness of ourselves, it's not a self-obsession with ourselves, it's just viewing ourselves from the inside out. It can give us an opportunity to regulate, to be curious about ourselves, to put ourselves as something that matters right in this moment, even if it's just, I'm following my breath and I've got a right to breathe. It's okay to be breathing the way it is, even if it's a bit fluttery or shallow, that's okay. You're doing the right thing. You're doing a great job in there. Giving ourselves that validation, taking it away from what people think. And every time that pops up, just bringing it back to ourselves. Because then it gives us the opportunity to say, okay, if I was going to rewrite those rules, and sometimes it helps to write them down, the rules in which I was governed, the ways that I had to be, and who said that, whose decision was that, and I wonder what that was about. And it leaves us a lot more freedom. It's like, okay, well, how do I want to feel? How do I want to look? What kind of message or image do I want to give out? Not for getting something back, but just because that's the way that I want to project myself and portray myself. These are my core values. We can start writing our own script and we can start practicing it. If I feel really kind of uncomfortable and the gaze is always on me and I'm always kind of second guessing what's coming back at me, bring it back to yourself. Allow yourself to breathe. Allow your shoulders to come up and your spine to straighten and your head to come up. Give yourself that validation. No, I've got every right to be here. I deserve to be here. I'm as entitled to take up space as anyone else's. Once you get your own rules, write them down and practice them. Practice saying them to yourself. Practice walking around with them. You know, you're writing your own script for who you want to be, taking it away from what's coming at you and that sense of judgment, and more just, this is coming from me and I'm okay with this. And walking around the house saying, this is me and I'm okay with this. I'm not saying it's easy and it doesn't just happen overnight. We've got to practice it. But we've got to know what we're up against, you know, what we've come from, what the lessons are that we learned growing up. And then start to make our own decisions about who we want to be. So I really hope that's helpful, useful, gives you some food for thought and helps you on your healing journey. So if this has helped, hit subscribe and join us every week for more body-based healing. Because real healing, it doesn't start in the mind, it starts here in the body.